Jeff and Jay here with another edition of Jay's Big Adventure. Jay's the Fuzzy Guy, and today we are continuing our series on Farkle Friday, which is the accessorizing of our 2020 BMW K1600 GT. For this installment, we're going to install our new cell phone holder from IKEA, I guess. This is a ratcheting mount for the phone, and you squeeze these two levers, it expands this, you put the phone in, and when you press the phone against it, it locks down, and now it cannot come up because it is a ratchet mechanism inside. It's a ball mount on the back, and it has this ball mount adapter that is designed for motorcycles with handlebars. We don't have a place where we can put this. So we've gotten another adapter from Wunderlich, and that is this piece here. This diameter is the proper diameter for the ball mount, and that is going to go here in the end of the handlebar. What we need to do is take this bolt out, which is a 50 Torx bit. We're going to screw this adapter in, and then we can mount the phone to that. First step is going to be to take this bolt out. It's a Torx 50. Oh, hang on, Jay. And we're going to replace it with this. Now, one of the reasons that bolt was so hard to take out, hang on, Jay, was because it had quite a bit of thread locker on here. We want to make sure this bolt doesn't come loose. So we're going to add a little bit of thread locker ourselves. It's really easy to overdo this. We'll just put a little dab on. And unfortunately, instead of a T50, this is now an 8mm socket screw, but we're going to go ahead and turn this in here. I may go to the hardware store and see if I can find an 8mm bolt that is a T50. One of the things I don't want to do is to have a whole bunch of different size bolts on the bike and then not be able to tighten it up on the road. For now, we're just going to make that nice and tight. To mount this, we're going to slide this over the end. And before I tighten this up, oh, that went all the way through. I hate it when that happens. Let me see where that went. Here it is. Usually you hear it a ding, 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 and it stops halfway down the bike somewhere. Oh man, that's bad. Okay, before I do that, I'm gonna actually add some thread locker in here to make sure that this bolt doesn't loosen up as well. I'm just gonna add just a touch of this. Make sure to put the cap back on so it doesn't leak on the bike. Now slide this over the end, and we'll tighten this clamp down. Yeah, that's good and solid. Now this just slides on here, I assume, like that. Okay, so now I know I'm going to have to loosen that pinch bolt and slide this back this direction because I don't want the phone at that angle. All right. Now let's try it. Spread, push, and it is securely mounted. While we were mounting the phone mount, I did decide to go back and redo the radar detector mount. The mount was back here because it was connected to these two bolts, and it just sat so far back that with my eyesight, I really was having trouble seeing the display. So I went ahead and moved it up here, and I did the same modification I did on the white bike, which is to drill a hole and to take the mount apart and just put a 1/4-20 screw in there. And now it is significantly further forward, and I'll be able to see this display much more clearly. I am going to add a set of LED lights from markparnes.com. I'll put a link in the description that will give me a little bit better visibility from here, but we are ready to go. So now the next step is going to be to raise the bars and bring them back a little bit. The GTL bars are significantly higher and further back. I don't want them to go back that far. So what I've done is I've gotten these mounts, and these are going to mount underneath the handlebars and bring the bars back and up just a, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch or so. They say that it makes a big difference. We're about to find out. The first step is going to be to pry the emblem out of here. We're just going to use a couple of very small screwdrivers and pry back in here and pull this up. And this just clips right into the steering head bolt. And now we can take that bolt out, and I believe that is 27 millimeters. And now we can go ahead and get under here to get these bolts off. Well, to get to this bolt, I had to pry this clamp out of here, and it was really stuck. I ended up scratching my freaking brand new bike. So I now have the first scratches on the motorcycle, which kind of sucks, but that was a bugger to get out of there, and I broke it in the process. So when I put this back together, I'm just going to use a wire tie to hold the ignition wires to the back side of that. But now that that's free, we can get to the mounting bolts and take the handlebars off. And once that's done, we'll put the spacers in, put it back together. These bolts are T40s. These bolts were a bugger to get out. I ended up having to take an extension and lift this up here to get this out of here, but finally made it happen. Now we're taking the last bolt out. Okay, so now these bolts go on here like this. And as you can see, the bars are going to come back and up. So I flipped the bar over to give you a better idea of how this works. Normally, this bolt goes here. Now we're moving that bar back this far and up this much. So it's a pretty significant improvement. It doesn't seem like it's much, but I've done these sorts of things before, and an inch here or there, it makes a difference. And if you don't believe me, ask any lady friend and she will tell you, yeah, an extra inch is great. So these are socket head cap screws. I just wanted to test fit this. I'm going to take this out, put some Loctite on it, and tighten these down, and then we'll do the other side. Now we get to put the 3 bolts that we took out initially back in. And they've given us some hex bolts, which will actually make this a lot easier. Good. First, some Loctite. Now with a little bit of Loctite on here, you should tighten right back up. The last step is to install the washer and apply a little bit of Loctite to the nut. Last step is to torque it to the proper specification, which is 66 pound-feet. So here we have two bikes that are as close to identical as you can get. But what we're really looking for is the difference in the handlebars after putting the bar risers on. And it's pretty easy to see exactly where the difference is if we look at the triple clamps. If you look in here, this is where we raised the piece up and brought them back. And if you notice, this is flush on the front and it's flush all the way around the back, and it's flush here. Now let's look at the new bike. There's actually quite a bit of difference. This is a larger gap than what I had thought. You can see the setback here, because this used to be on that bevel. There's quite a bit of space up here, so they did come up and they came back. Again, this flange, let's see if I can get in here and show this. This flange used to be flush against that. So it really did raise the bars up and back a reasonable amount. And I thought with the bike sitting side by side, it'd be easy to see where the difference is. It's a little more difficult than that, but let's look from this angle. And if you look at the handlebars on the white bike on the right, the clutch lever is right against the top of the tank. If you look at the new bike, it is above that. And this is not a scientific measurement, but that looks that does show you that they are up and back. So let's actually do a scientific measurement. The white bike, it is 43 and an 8. And here it's about 43 and 5/8. So there we go. So it did raise the bars a little bit. The real key though is going to be to see how it rides. So that's exactly what we're going to do next. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and we'll have more videos out soon.